Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. Before we get started, be sure to check out the exclusive Facebook group down below. I would love to have you join. We have a lot of fun over there. Post your crafts, post your questions. It's a great place to get almost immediate answers and it's just super fun. I love getting to know you guys and that's a great place to do it. In today's video, I am going to show you how you can sublimate on wood. Now I'm going to cut these little guys out using my Glowforge, but you definitely don't need a Glowforge to do this. You could just do this on any regular wood that you want to, but what you're going to need is some sort of a wood blank. You can buy like wood rounds, you can do all sorts of things, so there's just no real wrong way to do that. You're going to need laminating pouches. I have a ton. I have a box of 200. I got a really good deal on these. But these are what you're going to need is a laminating pouch. I'll link everything that you'll need down below. And then, of course, you'll need some sort of image that you want to sublimate onto your blank. Now, because I cut mine out on the Glowforge, there is a little bit of Glowforge information in this video, but you don't need one to do it. But I'm going to show you guys how to do this, how to sublimate on the wood, make these really cool little mugs. They're super fun, and I'm going to link this all down below. I want to thank Creativefabrica for sponsoring this video, and because they're sponsoring, they're offering a $1 all-access subscription for the first month and $19 after that. Cancel anytime at the link down below so that you too can get these amazing designs included in your all-access subscription. One of the things that I love about all access is that everything on the website is included. So whether you want to download fonts, embroidery files, SVGs, PNGs, everything you can get is included with your subscription. I also love the fact that they include a commercial use license, meaning that if you create something physical with your product, like this with their photo or their image or their SVG, or you crochet something, you can sell that product and you are legally protected to do so. It's really important for your business to make sure that you're using products that you have a commercial use license for. That way, you are doing everything within the law to make sure that your business is good to go. So just head to the link down below to sign up for that $1 all access for the first month and $19 a month after that. So let's head over and we're going to get started. I'm going to show you how to set this up. I'm going to show you how to print this on Inkscape as well, and then we're going to get ready to press.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
I thought before we started this video, I would show you around Creativefabrica just real quickly so that you can see all the things that are included with that all access subscription that you can get for just $1 for the first month. There are so many wonderful things. So this is your first page that you see. And what I love is you can kind of recommend, like change their recommendations. So if I wanted to see graphics, embroidery files, bundles, maybe I just want to see what bundles they have, I can absolutely do that. And what's awesome is that all of these bundles are included with my subscription. So it doesn't cost me any extra to grab these. I can just pick what I want, download it, and I'm good to go. Now let's say I want to see, let's look at crafts. And so let's see what we have in crafts. Let's get rid of bundles. There are tons of great things here. We've got some letter cubes, wedding invitations, 3D sunflowers, and so much more. There's flowers, there's all sorts of great things. They've released a lot of 3D items too, which are really fun. I love this little snowman layered design. And what's great is that you can add them to your favorites list and download them later if you want to get them later and you don't want to do them right now. You can definitely save them for later. Another great thing is that all of this stuff that's up here is included. All of these fonts, all of the graphics, all of the things under crafts. You even have needlework, classes, all sorts of really great things. There's also a teacher area for if you're a teacher, you can use some really great tools there. You also have Font Cloud, Shape Cloud, Web Font Generator, the Craft Club, the Artistry, Inspiration. There's also a print on demand option here. That's not necessarily included. You do have to pay a little extra for that, but it is super handy. And then of course, the bundles. One thing that I love is these all include commercial use license. So you can absolutely use these anytime you want to. And you can create designs with them and sell your physical products. So you can see there's tons and tons and tons of fonts. I love this one. We have a tutorial with Spooky Sunday, which is a favorite font of mine right now. Vintage Avocado is really cute. Lemon Mint is cute. So there are tons and tons of amazing fonts in here. And there are font duos. There's a little bit of something for everyone in here. And I just think it's super handy to be able to just download these, not have to think about how much it's going to cost you, because the all access subscription is pretty cost effective. It's $1 for the first month, $19 a month after that. And honestly, I download so much stuff that it pays for itself in no time. So I just wanted to show you around a little bit just so you could see. They also have some articles too, which are super handy. So I just wanted to show you around a little bit before we get started. So let's hop over and I'm going to show you how we're going to sublimate on wood. I found these adorable Halloween mugs in Creativefabrica. They're super cute, and because we have all access, we are able to download these. They're included, and this is an exclusive Creativefabrica design, so you're not going to find this one anywhere else. I'll link it down below because it is so darn cute. You can take a look at the mugs right here, but I really like this image. I think they are just a little bit bigger, so you can really get a good look at them. We're going to make a couple different ones just so you can kind of see a couple of the different options for how to do sublimation on wood. It's really fun, really easy, and I can't wait to show you how to do this. So the first thing that we of course have to do is download our images. All I'm going to simply do is click download, and it is going to bring up the folder and ask me where I'd like to save it. So for my image, I'm going to go to my desktop, I'm going to save it to my CRICUT folder, and then I'm going to find my Halloween folder. Now I like to just rename mine a little bit, so I'm just going to get rid of the numbers at the end. I don't need those, and they just sort of get in the way. Then I'm just going to click save, and I need to make sure to extract all the images from the folder in order to use them. So what I'm going to do is click on my folder that opened in the bottom, and all I simply need to do is click the word extract all, and then just click extract. That's going to give me my extracted folder, and here we have the PNG, the JPG, and the EPS versions. We're going to be using the PNG versions for this, and I definitely want to do this little mug here, this little orange one, and then we're going to do this green one, and then I think we'll do this stripy one as well. I think that'll give you a good idea on how the colors come out on wood with using the laminate overlay to sublimate on. Now, we're going to use Glowforge to cut out the shapes, but you don't need that. You just need a piece of wood, so you can kind of put this on anything. But I want them to be uniquely shaped, so I'm going to use the Glowforge to cut them out. And then I'm also going to use Inkscape to print them, just so that we have a little bit more control over our sizing. So let me show you how to do that. So here in Inkscape, you can either click File, Import, and then search for your file that you just downloaded, or just like with Design Space that I show you all the time, you can drag and drop. So I left my folder open, and I'm going to just choose the ones that I want. So in this case, I want the green one, the orange one, and the striped one, and I'm just going to drag them and drop them. Now it's going to give you this import options. Just click OK, and click OK, and then click OK. It's just asking you a couple questions. It's nothing that we need to particularly worry about. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually up here at the top. I want to change my measurement information over to inches just so I can get a better handle on the sizing, and I feel like inches just makes it easier. The next thing I'm going to do is lock my sizing because I want to make sure that they all stay within the same scale. So let's go ahead and resize them. Now they're pretty close on width here, so what I'm going to do, I don't really want them super big. I think I only probably want to go maybe like, let's take a look at what like 5 wide looks like. I think that actually looks pretty good. I think I like 5 wide, so let's stick with that for all of them, and I think that'll give us a decent size. This guy, I think he's going to need to be a little bit wider, so let's make him like, let's see what happens if we make him 5 tall, or yeah, 5 tall. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a decent size for them. This guy looks way bigger because of his candy, so I think I'm going to make him a little smaller than the 5. I think like maybe 4.5, maybe even smaller. Let's go 4. You just got to play with them a little bit and figure out like what size you want them to be. I think that looks pretty okay. Now I am getting them all into the edge here, like into this document size, just so that they all show up on Glowforge really easy, and I can move them after that. But first what I want to do is I'm going to click File, and I'm going to click Save, and I'm going to save this under my Glowforge folder right now as Halloween Mugs, and I want to save it as an SVG, so just click Save. Let's head over to the Glowforge so you can see what this looks like. The Glowforge software is all online. So what we're going to do is click upload, and we're going to find our folder. So I put this into my Glowforge folder, and I saved it as Halloween mugs. And then it's going to take a second to load. You'll see it kind of gives you an update down here at the bottom as to like what it's doing, and it's processing and doing all of that stuff. Now, the reason that we save it as an SVG is because that is the easiest way for the Glowforge to really, truly understand what it's doing. And don't worry, like they look kind of weird. We want them to look kind of weird because I need to do an outline around them so that we can cut out and have just a little bit of space. And I just find it easier if I do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I want to select the entire design, right click on it, and tell it to ungroup. That is going to move all of our mugs and make them separate pieces so that I'm able to kind of scooch the mug over independently from the other mugs. Now what I want to do is up here where it's got these little mountains, that is the create offset. So it's creating a little outline. So I'm going to create new outline, and it does take a second to load your outline. And I don't want a very large outline on these. I just want a small one. So I usually like a 0.1 for an outline. We'll see how that looks because I really don't want it to cut like this out, and I don't think it's going to. But do you see how it's doing a funky thing to the candy cane? We're going to make the outline a little bit bigger to see if we can kind of correct that weird edge to our candy cane. We may need to have a little bit larger of an offset just to kind of smooth that out because of the way the design is created. So just play with it a little bit until you're happy with how smooth your little dude is here, the candy cane. He's probably never going to be perfect, and that's okay. I just don't want it to be really, really awkward. So I think that's pretty good. So we'll stick with a 0.17. So then all we have to do is click off of that, and now you'll see that we have this outline. We can get rid of this guy because we don't need him anymore, because we're not actually doing anything with these images other than using them for the outline. Then all I'm going to do is do the same thing. And remember that it was 0.17. I'd like them all to be about the same outline. So I'm going to just go ahead and do a 0.17 around all of them. Now this one is wanting to cut out this section of the handle. I don't totally care that it's doing that. I think it's fine. It really doesn't bother me one way or the other. So we'll go ahead and just leave that as is. And we'll do this last one here, and we're going to go ahead and do the mountains, create a new outline. And we'll do this at 0.17. Just hit enter, and it'll make your outline for you. Now, again, this one for some reason didn't cut that out. It doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. And then I can just get rid of my mug. Now you'll notice that my background currently is black. It's because my Glowforge is not on. I will need to turn my Glowforge on in order to get everything set up and get ready to cut these out. Let's head back over to Inkscape so I can show you how to print these out. Now in Inkscape, we do need to make sure that we mirror these if we want them to face the same direction. You can always laminate on the back of the wood as well. It's the same as the front. But in this case, I do want them to be able to be mirrored. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to print one of these by itself because I don't want them super crowded on my paper. I want a little bit of an edge. So I'm just going to put him over to the side and we'll print him in a little bit. Now it is also very important that you don't resize anything. The next thing I'm going to do is select all of my designs, and up here at the top, do you see these two little like triangles? That is our flip objects. So I'm going to flip them horizontally. Now, a lot of times you will need to move them back on to your paper, and that's totally fine. It happens. Now that they're printed that way, they're facing the way that I want them to. And now printing is super, super simple. In order to print with my Sublimation printer, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to click on Print. The next thing I'm going to do is make sure I have the correct printer selected. I'm using an Epson ST4000, and I'm going to click on Preferences. Now I want to make sure that my document size is correct, which it's not. So that tells me that I missed a step in Inkscape. So if you ever run into that, just cancel out. And what you're going to do is go to File, Document Properties, and sometimes it opens like way over to the side. Mine is automatically, for some reason, A4. I want to set it to US letter, and then I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now you're going to need to adjust these guys a little bit just to make sure that they're going to fit on your paper. And now we can try printing it again. Sometimes that happens. It's not a big deal. You just need to go in and adjust. So again, select the correct printer and click Preferences. Now you'll see our document size is set to letter. I want to change just a couple of little settings here. So what I'm going to do is choose quality, and I want to change that to high. Then I want to go into more options, and I want to turn off my high-speed print. This is where you could mirror your image as well if you did not flip it, but I just prefer to flip it. Then under color correction, I want to change this to custom. Click advanced, and then I'm going to change this right here where it says color mode from Epson Vivid to Adobe RGB, making sure the gamma is at 2.2. If for some reason your screen looks a little different here, make sure you have color control selected. Sometimes it will default to fix photo. Just click OK, click OK again, and now we can print out our first set of images. So now that it's done printing this one, you may hear my printer make some noise in the background. All I'm going to do is take these two little guys, move them to the side, and then move this guy back over. Then I'm just going to use those same print settings. So File, Print, make sure that correct printer is selected, choose Preferences, make sure you have the document size right, quality to high, more options, turn off high-speed print. Turn this to custom, go to advanced, and change this to Adobe RGB. Click OK, OK, and print. So now that I've turned the Glowforge on, you can see that it shows an image of the material that we're going to cut on, and then all of our little dudes, so our little mugs. Now you can move these around in any way that you want to. I love to try to save material, so I will kind of scooch them around so that they are going to save as much material as I can. I do cut on proof grade currently, so this is proof grade medium draft board. And what's great about using the proof grade is you'll see here, it's got a QR code. The machine actually reads it, does all the settings for you, but there's a lot of different settings that you can choose. Now, here's one thing you want to make sure. You want to make sure that your lines don't overlap. So you don't want it to cut like this, where they're overlapping right here. You want them to be separated. Now, you don't need a ton of space between them, but a little space will do. And then you just sort of shove everything so that you can fit as many designs as you can. Now, I do use some scrap busting things. I'll cut out little post earrings and stuff like that. So I do have space here that I could fit other things like my post earrings. So I'm not really worried about fitting everything perfectly in here, but I think that is fine. So once you're happy with where everything is, I just double check and make sure that everything is set to cut. Now the cut lines are going to be red. You have score lines that turn purple, or you have engraved lines that are like a red. See how it's kind of weird looking? So I just want to make sure that everything is on cut because I just wanted to cut out our images. Now all I have to do is click the word print, and it's going to prepare the print. So basically it re-autofocuses the laser head, it changes and checks everything and makes sure that everything is lined up correctly. Now because I have this one so close to the edge and this one so close to the edge, I'm going to double check it before we hit print to make sure that it's going to do what we want it to do in the correct way. So it's just going to make a little bit of noise in the background. It's kind of moving around, checking where everything is. And it is going to just take a moment here. Now you'll see here that it's still preparing our print, and this print's only going to take 1 minute and 32 seconds. So again, I'm just going to check these, make sure they look good. Everything looks pretty good where it's at. I don't know that anything's going to cut off of the edge. I'm going to just push this one up a little bit, and I'm going to also push this one up just a little because they were just a little too close to the edge for my taste. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to do this. We're going to press the button over on the Glowforge and get this all cut out. This should take very little time, so this is a great quick little project that you can do. I get a lot of questions about how I vent, so this is what I do. I have an acrylic sheet that's cut to fit the window, and then that is just a dryer, vent type of situation that I got from Home Depot. Cut this all to fit, cut a hole in the acrylic, and voila, I have a vent. Now it's really important that you vent your system so you can see that it runs behind the machine over to the machine's vent. We are ready to use our Glowforge, so we're just going to hit this little button and hit go, and then we're going to watch it cut out. Now that it's done, we can go ahead and open up our machine. And we can pull out our designs. Now you'll notice that sometimes they kind of like fall through a little bit. Totally normal. Sometimes the wood isn't fully flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the front of mine down. And then you can pull your wood out. Now sometimes they do stay stuck a little bit because the masking gets stuck. And I probably do need to clean my machine. So that's probably something we're gonna need to do tomorrow, is get a nice clean on the machine. Because that's what happens if you don't like clean it all the time. It'll start to not cut correctly. So we have all of our little shapes now. How fun are those? Super easy. Now what we'll do is remove the masking off of these, and then we can apply the laminate so that we can sublimate on them. So once we've cut everything out, we need to remove the masking from the design. So basically what's on here is masking tape, and it is to protect your wood from being damaged. So it really just peels off. Think of it kind of like weeding vinyl. It's a similar idea. You just peel off what you don't need. So for these, we don't need any of it. And I like to use my pin pen because sometimes getting the edges to lift can be a little difficult. But you can use painter's tape, you can use masking tape. Duct tape works really good for really small parts. But usually I can just get it with my hands, and it's pretty easy once you get it started. If you have something that has a lot of detail on it, you may need to peel it a couple different ways, but you'll get it all off. And sometimes it'll rip like this. Totally fine. You can just rip it. No big deal. It doesn't have to come off in one piece. It's easier if it does, but if it does something like that, just peel it off. You want to make sure to peel it off of both sides of your blank here. So we're just going to go ahead and get this off. Like I said, sometimes it's not always easy to get the edge started, and sometimes it wants to rip a little bit too much. That's why I like having my pin pen available, because I can kind of just get under the edge with it, and it'll usually come off pretty quickly and pretty easily. Now again, we've got a bit of a rip going on, so we're just gonna work our way around it, and it comes right off. And then we just have this last one with the little candy cane looking thing sticking out the top. So we'll grab that one. Now see, that one didn't rip so well. But again, you can always use your fingernail, whatever you've really got handy, you'll get this masking off. It's not super sticky, so it comes off pretty easily. Let me go ahead and finish getting this off of here, and then I'm gonna show you how to apply the laminate. We're gonna be using laminate sheets. I have these from Fellows. They work amazing. These are 3 mil. They work great with the laminator that I have, but they're also gonna work great for this. This is a huge pack. I got it way cheaper than the small pack. So what you'll do is you'll have your laminating sheet, and you see that it's 2 sides. So it's 2 pieces. It's basically like an envelope, or like a folder, if you will. And normally you would put your paper inside of it, run it through your laminator, and it would be plastic on both sides. But in this case, we want to actually cut this in half. You don't have to do like an exact cut. It's fine if it's not perfect. But you just want to cut it in half-ish, if you will. And you'll see that you have 2 separate sides. You have one side that's like really, really glossy, and then you have this other side that's much duller. So I don't know how well you can see the real like difference here, but this one is glossy and then this one is dull. The dull side is your adhesive side, so the glossy side will be what goes up. So when we put these on to our little mugs, you're gonna put it with the glossy side up. Now I don't wanna cut these down because lamination shrinks when you use it. So you wanna make sure that you have them large enough that they'll fit on your designs. So you can absolutely press it like this if you'd like to. You don't have to cut this apart, or you can cut it in half and press it that way. This one I will cut down just so I'm not wasting a ton of it, but I don't think I'm gonna cut this one in half. I think it's fine the way it is. But again, I am gonna leave this bigger than the mug because it will shrink. Now we are gonna set our heat press. I'm gonna use my StarCraft 15 by 15 heat press for this, and you set this for 385 for 60 seconds. We're gonna do a medium firm pressure on this, so let's head over to the heat press. It's all heated up, ready to go, and we're gonna get these pressed. You'll want to protect your pressing surface with some parchment paper, just in case any of the adhesive from the laminate gets anywhere. And then as always, I have my Teflon sheet. All I'm gonna do is bring my press down, and I'm gonna allow this to press for 60 seconds. We are almost done. It'll beep here in just a second. I don't usually allow mine to beep because it's pretty loud for my pets. They don't love it. So what you'll have here now is you'll kind of see it's all shiny. it is going to be very warm, but this is why you use parchment paper, because like all that goo is stuck to your parchment paper, which is fine, totally normal. You could definitely trim this down a little bit more. I'm gonna allow this to cool a little bit, and we're gonna press the next one. I trimmed our next two a little bit closer so that you could really see a difference. I think it'll be fine either way. You don't want to, like I said, you don't want to trim exactly the same size, but trimming it down a little bit is fine. So again, we're gonna go ahead and press this at 385 for 60 seconds. Okay, it's fully done. I don't think the locks are on my toolbox. So what I'm gonna do again is I'm gonna allow this to cool, and then we'll peel it off the parchment paper, and then I'll show you how to kind of trim off that excess of the laminate. So we're ready to remove all this extra laminate. So I did, like I said, cut these ones down. I would recommend cutting it down more than I did on this one, just because it can kind of get a little bit messy. But what you're gonna do is take your X-Acto knife. You could use scissors, but I like to use an X-Acto knife. And you're gonna press down your design, and you're just going to take your X-Acto knife and trim all the way around the edge. You're basically just gonna follow it around, and I'm doing it at a little bit of an angle. So I don't have it straight down. I have it angled more towards our mug cutout. And you're just gonna make sure that you kind of go around, and if you get into these little corners, you can kind of change which angle you're cutting at, just to make sure that you get all of the laminate cut away. Now I recommend doing this on a self-healing mat. Really helpful when it comes to cutting around anything with an X-Acto knife, just because then you're not gonna damage your surface. So all I'm gonna do is just follow this around, and we'll finish this one off. And I'll show you what this looks like once it's all cut out. Make sure I get that little corner. All right, and you may need to kind of like break it off a little bit, because some parts on my knife probably needs a new blade on it. But you'll feel sometimes it doesn't really want to cut all the way through. And if it doesn't, you can just go back around and kind of cut around it, but you'll start to see where it's kind of getting cut off. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this side again, because it didn't cut very well here. I think I just need a new blade. This blade is a little bit old. I've been using it for a while. Yeah, that looked much better once I kind of went around it again. So you'll just need to kind of go around, and again, use a sharp blade. I'm probably gonna change my knife after this one, because I do have another knife that has a newer blade in it. I'm just gonna go all the way around, and now you see it's all cut out. Now it's really up to you whether you wanna kind of trim this part out. I don't care one way or the other, but I'm gonna take it out. And so if I have something like this where it's like in the middle, I'll do it from the front, because it's a little easier to see. And then I just sort of trim it around with my knife. And you just kind of go through and just go along the edge and just kind of get it all trimmed out of there. I probably should have used my sharper knife, but it's fine. No big deal. And there you go. It is ready to go. We are ready to put some sublimation on. So I'm gonna get these other ones cut out. Like I said, I'm gonna change out my knife, and then we can go ahead and move on to the next step of sublimation. Now that we've gotten all the laminate kind of cut out and removed, we can cut our little designs, and I'm just gonna cut the paper down a little bit, literally just cutting those two off. Super easy to do. And now what we need to do is to put our designs onto our little mugs here. So it can be a little difficult to line it up, because obviously you can't see through the wood. So a lot of times what I find helpful is I flip it this direction so that it's kind of up and down, and I can see through it a lot better to get this lined up the way I want it. Once I'm happy with how it's lined up, I very carefully flip it over, and sometimes if you move it, just got to redo it. I just slid it a little bit when I move my finger. But I just kind of get it lined up where I'm happy. Needs to go over a little bit more. I set it down, and then I'm just gonna take heat tape, and I just wanna tape this down. Now I'm gonna double check it, because obviously I slid it again. But you can just kind of play with it until you're happy with where it's sitting onto your design. So just take your time with this. There's no, you don't have to rush. You can absolutely do this as slow or as fast as you want to. It's really up to you. And sometimes it can help to just tape it while you're holding it. This tape does not like to stick to the wood very well, so just kind of keep that in mind. But I'll usually give it a few pieces of tape just to make sure that it's held down really well and it's not going to scooch when I move it over to my press. So once I've gotten one done, I'll move on to the next one. We'll do this next little guy here with our candy cane. I'm not sure if you really call it, I guess it's still a candy cane when it's from, you know, for Halloween. It's still the same idea. It's just a Halloween candy cane. So again, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna flip him over. I'm gonna tape his candy cane down. I'm gonna grab some more tape. By the way, this tape dispenser is amazing. If you roll this, it cuts your tape for you. Like, how fun is that? That's probably my favorite tape dispenser I've ever had in my entire life. I love that it cuts out the little pieces of tape for me. It makes everything so much easier. So again, I'm just gonna kind of put some tape down just so it doesn't move. You don't need to use a lot of tape, but like I said, I find that this tape is not always too keen on sticking to my design. All right, we got our one last one to do, and this guy is our little spiderweb green mug. I'm gonna grab a piece of tape and pull some more tape out. And again, I just like to hold it sideways. I can see it in the light a lot better if I hold it sideways. If you go face down, it's really hard to see, but if you hold it up, you can really see pretty well through it to get an idea of where it needs to sit. So it's, again, just takes time, practice. If you don't like it the first time you lay it down, you can move it. It's completely okay to do that. Not gonna be the end of the world if you don't get it right the first time. I don't get it right the first time. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get these all taped down. These are ready to go. So let's set our press to actually press these. We're gonna set our press at 380 and we're gonna press for about 50 seconds. So we have our design and we need to do some layers of butcher paper because we wanna make sure to protect our press. So you'll see here we have one layer of butcher paper. You're gonna put it paper face up, so sublimation paper face up, and then you want to put another layer of butcher paper down. That's gonna help protect your press. And then we're gonna press this for 380 degrees for 50 seconds. Okay, so it's time to pull this up. And we can make our butcher paper, put that over to the side. And then you can peel this off right away. It is very hot though, so just be aware of that. And it can be kind of hard to peel it when it's super hot, but I'm gonna try so that you guys can see what it looked like. Maybe I can't. It is very, very hot, so I'm trying not to burn my fingers on it so that you guys can see. Now, it will have a little bit of wood color to it because it is still the color of wood behind it. Look how cute. Oh, these are so fun. So let's go ahead and press the other ones and then I'll show you what everybody looks like together. And what I love about them is that you could actually have painted the wood white if you wanted to, and then they would have shown up a little bit more true to color. But I really like the wood look because for the design that I was going for, because these are going on a tiered tray in my house, I wanted them to look a little bit more rustic. So I left that wood on there, but look at how pretty. They're glossy, they were so gorgeous, so easy to do, and they came out really, really cool. Now remember, you do not have to do this with a Glowforge. You can do this with pretty much any wood that you find laying around. I've seen people do it with ceramic tiles as well, so there are lots of options that you can do with this, but I wanted to show you a version with wood, because sublimating on wood is awesome. Now what's also cool is that you could really make really fun, like family photos on wood like this. There's so many options, and you are going to be able to make the most gorgeous things by using all sorts of designs from Creativefabrica. What's great is that you can find something for everybody using Creativefabrica. Right now, they're offering us the awesome deal of $1 for all access for the first month with just $19 a month after that, and you can cancel anytime. It's such a good deal because everything on their site is included with that all access subscription. Everything from fun designs like these to embroidery files, crochet patterns, knitting patterns, classes, all sorts of great fun things that you can find, SVGs, and they have a little bit of something for every holiday, every event, every type of person or thing that you want to make. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of designs, and it's growing every day. The other great thing is that they have lots of designers that you might find on some other websites, and you may find the exact same design over on Creativefabrica, and with your All Access subscription, it is included. So it's a really cool way that you can save yourself some money. The other great thing is that these come with a commercial use license, meaning I can now take these three little guys and sell them if I wanted to. You can sell the physical products that you make with their designs on their website. I think that's a great thing because it protects you legally, and it just makes life a lot easier when you don't have to think if you're allowed to sell something. If you guys have any questions about Creativefabrica, please let me know, reach out to me. You can find me on all the social medias listed here on the screen. Would love to have you join me on some of those other places. If you have any questions about anything you saw here or on another video, you can also leave those down in the comments down below. I answer all of your questions best I can. I hope you guys learned some really cool ways to sublimate on wood and learn how to use their designs in the Glowforge to kind of create this little outline to make it a little bit easier to put together. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.